This increase in the fuel levy is not just an attack on motorists, it is a direct assault on the poor.
Even the zero-rated items are going to increase because of the increase in input costs. The increase are now with a clear conscience. How?
It's time for us to wake up and smell the coffee. The reality is we need to change.
This budget is a sellout.
While parties jockey for power, millions remain hungry, millions remain unemployed.
We must be very clear. We reject the fuel levy increase in its entirety. This increase in the fuel levy is not just an attack on motorists, it is a direct assault on the poor. The fuel levy is a regressive tax. It affects everyone, especially the poor and the working class, who are already under immense pressure from the rising cost of living. When fuel prices go up, transport costs increase, food prices rise, and basic goods become more expensive. In South Africa, where millions rely on public transport and informal sector trade, the knock-on effect on fuel taxes are devastating. This happens at a time when 18.2 million people depend on government for grants. The decision will plunge more households into poverty, it will increase hunger, it will erode what little purchasing power remains for low-income families. And it was done without parliamentary approval. We will not accept taxation without representation. We'll continue to fight this abuse of executive power, including through the courts.
This budget has tested the GNU to the limit. Many coalition governments like Germany has fell apart because of budget differences. Our GNU is solid. Our government passed its first and hardest test. Those amongst us here that wants the finance minister to be removed, you are living in green and red dreamland. The Minister of Finance is going nowhere. We support you, Honorable Minister. But the opposition is right when they say that the GNU is fighting. The GNU is fighting, but they are not fighting each other. Through this fiscal framework and revenue proposal, it shows that the GNU is not fighting each other. The GNU is fighting poverty. The GNU is fighting unemployment. The GNU is fighting inequality. Whilst they are fighting each other.
Never said we must tax 300,000 people only.
Honorable member.
He must withdraw.
In considering the rule of order raised by my EFF colleague, I'd like you to also consider the fact that the speaker at the podium also mentioned MK, because MK never at any stage called for increased taxation. Thank you very much.
Honorable member, you can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me explain it. There is 330,000 people in South Africa, registered taxpayers, regardless of their race, that earns more than R1 million a year. That is the totality of people in South Africa earning more than R1 million a year. That includes you. That means that when you call for a wealth tax, you are saying that those 330,000 people out of 27 million registered taxpayers who contribute to 40% of the total personal income tax must be taxed more. You must listen to your own speaker, the Honourable Van Rooyen, that stood here and said there should be a wealth tax. Regardless of that, we need economic growth to get out of this crisis.
We cannot keep taxing struggling South Africans while corruption continues in entities like the RAF, Compensation Fund, UIF, and various SETAs. The National Prosecuting Agency must not only be properly resourced, but also much better led. Without a change in leadership and management, the NPA will remain unable to prosecute corruption, public enemy number one. Speaker, in conclusion, this fiscal framework is a GNU budget, and every party in the GNU must be held accountable if jobs continue to disappear and growth fails to materialize. Action SA, as a rational, pragmatic, constructive and consistent party, will support this fiscal framework, not because it's perfect, but because as a country we cannot afford any more delays We cannot cripple our country. We cannot allow more
The
chaos.
ACDP welcomes the removal of the very contentious VAT, and we also opposed it. However, this has sadly been replaced by a much maligned fuel levy hike, which can, many have argued, have even a greater impact on South Africans. Can and should this be supported when there was such vociferous opposition to the VAT hike? And if it is to be supported, what about the promised fuel levy review? When is that?
A fuel levy is worse than that because you have no way of mitigating the impact of regressivity in fuel levy increase on the poor. Bazathi xa bebheka phana itaxi izawuincrease, ikhaphetshu lizawuincrease, ubisi luzawuincrease, awunandlela mitigate. Even the zero-rated items are going to increase because of the increase in input costs. See, increase are now with a clear conscience. How? I do not like hypocrisy. We do not like hypocrisy. How are we increasing it now?
It's time for us to wake up and smell the coffee. The reality is we need to change. I have sympathy for the Minister of Finance. He's been asked to do something with very little. So I'm here to propose that let's focus on growth initiatives. Let's focus on investment and growth capital formation. Let's ask ourselves the question, why if the minister puts R1 trillion in infrastructure, no one else is investing? No one. The private sector is not. Foreign direct investment is dried up. Look outside. Ask yourself, how many cranes do you see outside Johannesburg, Cape Town, or Durban? That's the measurement.
This GNU has done nothing for this country but fall from one crisis to the next. The next crisis is around the corner. It's called NHI. The DA will again throw its toys out the cot. Again, you will come begging to smaller parties for support. And then again, you will sell us out to these people, as was the plan. This budget right here does not speak to the needs of our people. It does nothing for the poor in Kailicha, on the Cape Flats, and in Alexandria. This budget is a sellout. And the NCC does not support it, but it will accept it, because we understand.
We must settle the issue of the basic income grant once and for all. It sustains life and it restores dignity. And this is not a radical idea, not at all. It is the bare minimum in a country defined by extreme inequality and poverty. Deputy Speaker, this budget shows us what happens when politics trumps policy. While parties jockey for power, millions remain hungry, millions remain unemployed.
So the response of the DA to this fiscal framework is to march on to the next hill and then the next. To fight on until we're all living in a country where we need two hands to count economic growth and only one hand to count unemployment. Make no mistake, this forward march will not be easy. Just as they told us we would not be able to stare down a VAT increase, there are those that will tell us that the problems we confront are too complex, that they are endemic, that they are structural, and we can't fix our ports, we can't fix our public service or even our potholes. But we will prevail in that fight for the same reason that we prevailed in this budget battle. It's because we have the facts on our side. It's because we have sensible economic policy on our side. And most importantly, it is because we will have the prosperity-starved people of South Africa on our side. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, the DA supports this fiscal framework. And if things go to plan, we will support 4 more that includes rational economic policy.